Hey, fifth grade, welcome back after a long and restful long weekend. So, some of the things I wanted to talk to you all about. So, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see some of our goals and objectives for this week. So, we're going to take just a tiny break from reading and we're going to focus on our writing. So, today we're going to focus on writing this week, or this week we're going to focus on our writing. We're going to generate stories that remind you of something to write about. We're also going to discuss what makes a great partner and working with your reading and writing partners. And that means the responding either to Flipgrid or your Google document. And then we're also going to imagine the thoughts and feelings of characters and understand point of view. So this is really going to tie into what we did last week when we discussed about perspectives and point of view, when we talked about Home of the Brave and how did the book change or how would the book change if it was written in Dave's point of view. Okay. So today for our goal is to learn that writers read great stories to learn how to write great stories. So, and then we're also going to look at what makes a great partner. So I'm going to read a passage to you all. It's kind of long, but I really, really, really want you to kind of pay attention, and I want you to think about how it can spark your own ideas about something that you can write about. So when I'm reading, I want you to think about what you could write, and then I'm going to kind of pause in the reading and then just kind of think about, here's some ideas on what I can take from what I'm reading and how I can make my own ideas. Okay. So I'm going to read this to you. Okay. So this is from Eloise Greenfield's Child Times. It's just an excerpt that came from almost like a memoir or something that she wrote. So I'm going to read. I'm going to teach you that writers read great stories in order to write great stories. An author's stories and ideas will often spark the reader's stories and ideas. So, right now, I want you to listen as I read the story to you and see if it sparks memories for you. Okay, so I'm going to be doing this as well. I'm just going to kind of think about it and then I'll kind of discuss it with you. Here we go. I don't know why Mama ever sewed for me. She sewed for other people, made beautiful dresses and suits and blouses, and got paid for doing it. But I don't know why she sewed for me. I was so mean. It was all right in the days when she had to make my dresses a little longer in the front than in the back, to make up for the way I stood with my legs pushed back and my stomach out. I was little then, and I trusted Mama. But when I got older, I worried. Mama would turn the dress on the wrong side and slide it over my head, being careful not to let the pins stick me. She'd kneel on the floor with her pincushion, fitting the dress on me, and I'd look down at that dress, at the lopsided, raw edged, half basted, half pinned thing, and know that it was never going to look good or look like anything. So I would stand and pout while Mama frowned and sighed and kept on pinning. So writers, I want you to think, does this story so far maybe in some weird way remind you of anything that's ever happened in your life? So with me, when I hear just that first little part and I hear that she's talking about how Mama makes these dresses and she's concerned that now that she's older about wearing these dresses, I mean, yeah, it kind of reminds me of things that my mom would make me do that I didn't want to do, things that I would pout about, or, just kind of jogged a memory, like I didn't want to share certain things with my sister because they were mine, right? And I didn't want to, so I would pout. So this beginning of the story just kind of jogs some memories for me, um, that maybe I have. So I'm going to continue. Those of you with parts in the play, stay after class to talk about your costumes, Miss Armstrong said, 10 minutes before the bell rang. My classmates and I continued working. When the bell finally rang, I saw the children who, like me, were remaining in the room. I thought, Eliza, Becky, Richard, and I would have main parts in the play. I thought about how we'd probably need to stay late often, or maybe even go to each other's houses on Saturdays to study our lines. I knew that Eliza's house I knew Eliza's house because many times the school bus had drawn to a stop in front of it, and she would have a whole group of girls that just would get off the bus, and now I get to find out what they did there. Let's meet, Eliza said. I pulled my chair to the back corner of the room to where she and the others had already gathered. Eliza ripped a sheet of paper from her spiral and said, "It's from the 1860s, so we'll need antique costumes." "Oh," she giggled and pointed at me. "You won't need a costume. You can just wear that dress you have on." But, I answered. So that's the end of that. So whenever I read that part, it also kind of reminds me of maybe it jogs memory, maybe when I was younger, when I was in school, where students maybe were not so nice to me. So I could write about maybe something like that or something that triggered, or maybe something where maybe you heard someone not being very nice to another student. So this, just reading this, read aloud, it helped me generate some entries. And um, whenever I think about those ideas, I want you to know that I'm not writing about the story. So I'm not rewriting or summarizing or retelling the story I just read. I'm writing my own story. It is not about a mother sewing. I can't say so, right? It's not about my mom sewing. It's more like, these are some ideas that were jogged from me. Um, and I'm not really sure why I came up with those stories, but I did. So this writing helped me come up with a memory from my own life. And that's what we're doing. So what I want you to do is think about what I read and think about um, how I can generate my own ideas from what was just read. If you if you can't think of anything that maybe jogged your memory, that's okay. What I want you to do, if you can continue writing about it, I want you, if you can't think of anything, just write whatever true story that you have in mind to write. Okay. The thing about writing is we're not doing something and I'm going to say, oh, that's wrong, right? We're generating ideas about how we can write. Okay. So what I want you to do is whether or not the passage I read jogged a memory for you, or just write for me, write something that's true, right? Maybe the first and last times. Remember, we did that. Strong feelings. We did thinking of a place. If you want to just write about a story, then I want you to share that with your partner today. Share what you wrote. Um, and then the partner will also share, and then I just want you to kind of respond, okay? So one of the things I want to talk to you about as well is how to be a good partner. I've already had some students tell me that some of their partners aren't responding, and you got to remember that's not fair, okay? Even though we are doing school remotely and we are online, you still have the responsibilities of being a good partner and being a good classmate, okay? So one of the things I want you to do is make sure that you are a support system for your partner. If you're noticing that when your partner is explaining what they wrote or telling you what they wrote, if you notice that your partner tends to write about similar things, you can kind of help them and say, I noticed that you write a lot about dance. Why don't you try writing maybe something else or share other aspects of your life that will help? I want you to help your partner actively. Okay. Correct your partner. If you notice that your partner is writing, one or two sentences, maybe you can say, how can you elaborate on your story? How can you how can you throw in more ideas to make your story more elaborate? I want you to encourage each other. If you're struggling, like if this activity, if you're saying, I have no idea what to write, share that with your partner. Tell your partner, I don't know what to write. Do you have any ideas? Tell me what you did to help you write. Your partner is there to help you. And then you can also help your partner stay on task. If your partner isn't responding to you, maybe send them an email. If your partner is continuing to not respond to you, then you need to let Ms. Harrison know, and I can do my best to make sure your partner is responding. And then that's the last thing. Make sure you respond to your partner. Okay. We are here to help each other with the writing process. So that's what I want you to do for today.